Welcome to Wild Take Wednesdays right here on Unc's Corner. For those who don't know what Wild Take Wednesdays is, it is the conversational portion of Unc's Corner. I am your host, Unc, and today we're going to talk about J. Cole. If you're watching on the YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're on the TikTok, let's get this show on the Rizzy Road. So, I don't even have to explain it. J. Cole dropped an album, The Fall Off, double disc, his last album, right? This is the first time we hear from J. Cole since he addressed the beef. Unless you count the Blizzard that dropped, I think, a week or 2 weeks before the album. But we've been known that this will be J. Cole's last album. He's been said this for a very long time. I'm one of the people that believe that this is J. Cole's last album. However, I know there's a bunch of people that I've spoken to over the past couple of days who say this is not J. Cole's last album. J. Cole might come back in some form or fashion with another album. I think this is J. Cole's last album. J. Cole is not the type of person to do a double disc unnecessarily, right? I do think J. Cole, especially after the beef, I think J. Cole is over the rap game thing, right? So yeah, The Fall Off. This is J. Cole, or at the very least, this will be the last J. Cole album, right? They might be, as Tuto says, allegedly there's a JID and J. Cole collab album. I don't know this, right? However, because this also is the words of JID from the Joe Budden podcast when he was on there, and he's like, me and Cole got some songs together, but I don't know if there's an officialized album, right? But essentially, this is the last album, the last album that he, I guess, owes to Interscope, right? Or he will release with Interscope. I know there's a mixtape, It's a Boy, that is still coming, right? He confirmed this about 2 days ago, right? Or 3 days ago if you're watching this. So this marks as his last album, right? The album runs 1 hour 41 minutes, right? And essentially this is Jermaine coming back from the beef, right? Or this is Jermaine essentially making the first statement, right, since the beef. I will give my opinions, right? I won't go song by song, but I will point out the most impactful songs for me. I will point out the significance of those songs for me, right? And yeah, firstly, I want to start by saying 24 songs is a little bit too much for today's thingy album economy, but I respect it. It is in the vein of old school albums, right? I think it is Tupac All Eyes on Me, which is a double disc, so it's in the vein of that. I think the last double disc that we got from rap that actually matters is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, right? And that is another phenomenal rapper, one of the best rappers in the world, Kendrick Lamar, right? Dare I even say the second best rapper next to J. Cole. But this is a double disc, 1 hour 41 minutes, a little bit too much to listen to in this economy. However, again, if you come from a specific era, right, and you are used to listening to J. Cole from a specific era, you can appreciate what happens. We're gonna go into disc 1 first, and then we're gonna go into disc 2 second. In as far as disc 1, we're gonna start disc 1. So I just recently got put on game that disc 1 was supposedly recorded when he was 29 years old, which makes sense, right? It makes sense with songs like Safety, songs like Who the Fuck Is You, songs like Let Out, songs like thingy Bunce Road Blues. Those songs, it makes sense. Matter of fact, disc 1 is reminiscent of Friday Night Lights Cole. This one is very reminiscent of the Warm Up Cole. This one is very reminiscent of the Come Up Cole. This one is very reminiscent of Truly Yours Cole, right? So if you listen to Cole from like the Come Up, so you went the Come Up, the Warm Up, right? Friday Night Lights, Truly Yours 1, Truly Yours 2. These are not albums, by the way. These are mixtapes. If you come from that era of J. Cole, disc 1 should make sense to you, right? Very important to note, I come from that era. I've listened to every project that has ever come out that is J. Cole, that has a J. Cole name on it or J. Cole sticker on it, right? Even that weird Black Friday that thing that they did with Kendrick, I listened to everything that is J. Cole, right? So I think disc 1, you can appreciate it because essentially it gives you a sense that if you like Cole for that, like the Veil is back, Rail is back from that era, right? You can get it on this one, especially on songs like Safety. Safety is one of my favorite songs, right, on the albums. If not my on the album, if not my favorite song. I think when I listen to Safety first and foremost, before it being an ode to one, I think it's a One Love, right, by Nas, right? Yeah, I think it's One Love by Nas, if I'm not mistaken. The chat, please do correct me if I'm wrong, right? But like, before it being an ode, or before me recognizing that, oh, there's an ode to a Nas song, or before even recognizing the fact that, oh, he's bringing back, some references from from his favorite rappers back in the day, bro, this is a phenomenal hip hop song. From like the chorus to the bridge to the beat, like immediately when you listen to the song, right, the drums, immediately I went to a specific time in my life where I was a rap fan. I'm still a rap fan, but like it was a specific time in my life where I'm like, okay, cool, look, this is super hip hop. You understand? And just the messaging. I know a lot of people are like, J. Cole, you cannot have so much survivor's remorse when you are a multi-millionaire. Right. Yes, he also interpolates, as TJ's mentioned, he interpolates the horns on Queen Latifah's UNC'S. So it's an ode to hip hop, essentially. But apart from that, it being an ode to hip hop, or rather, apart from it being an ode to hip hop, the song itself is so hip hop that if you appreciate hip hop music, the song should strike you. Before you catch the interpolations, or you catch the fact that it's an ode to a specific song, or the song itself should capture you if you're a hip hop fan. And what I mean, I'm talking about early 90s hip hop. I'm talking Pete Rock, CL Smooth. I'm talking Rakim, Eric B and Rakim. I'm talking like Big L. I'm talking very early days Jay-Z towards the end of Big Daddy Kane's era. I'm talking super hip hop, like New York, Tim's, right, Fatigue. I'm talking Mobb Deep, right? I'm talking Capone and Noriega. Like, you had to be of a specific era, right? Nas, all of that. You understand? You have to be of a specific era to appreciate the song Safety, because it's an ode to that. And it interpolating Queen Latifah's UNITY just sends you back to that era. If you were young around that era, like I was, right? To me, it's like, oh my God, bro, what do you mean? You understand? It makes sense, right? From the perspective that he's rapping from, because people are like, hey, survivor's remorse, brother. Listen, you've been rich and being rich for a very long time. But the fact that he wrote this when he was 29 years old, which is on the back of Forest Hills Drive, and when you listen to the contents of Forest Hills Drive, one could even, right, make the point that this was a Forest Hills Drive song, right? And it went to the cutting room floor and it was put aside for a different project. You understand? But disc one, I love Safety, right? Disc one, I love Buns Road Blues. Oh, Buns Road Blues. I think on disc one, what you get, right, is a great mixture of good songwriting and super raps. I think a lot of people, right, expected J. Cole to come out swinging. I think a lot of people after the beef expected J. Cole to do some stunt-like things, stunt-like rapping, or whatever the case may be. I think a lot of people expected J. Cole to come out on the defensive, or at the very least come out on the aggressive sense. And I think what J. Cole did is he gave you what you know J. Cole for: super rapping. J. Cole is one of the best rappers, if not the best rapper in the world currently. You understand, with this project. And he displays that a lot, right? Joe Budden says J. Cole is one of the best rappers in the world, and that's it. And I agree with him. I think what happened with the beef is that the beef brought on a whole lot of new fans who started comparing all of them, right? I think Mr. Morale and the Big Step is coming out as a double disc, and it being so dense and as far as subject matter has essentially messed up the perception of J. Cole's double disc. It seems as if, right, I know a whole lot of y'all come from a generation that is fueled by beef or is fueled by clickbait. So everybody, I felt, or most people felt, that this should be one of that. And I don't think it's that. I think what's happening here is that J. Cole made an album that makes, or at the very least, if you talk about this one, I think this one wasn't even made with that in mind, right? So this one was not made with that in mind. This one was, hey, this is an ode to hip hop because I love hip hop. This is the man that had several posters in his bedroom, right? I was telling a friend of mine that the problem with people is that they think J. Cole is something that he's not. J. Cole is not Kendrick Lamar. He has never told you, right, that he is this deep person that can essentially make ideas or make concepts out of the pain that he feels, like Kendrick Lamar. J. Cole is a rapper in real life and on the music, it seems. You understand? He's a rapper's rapper. He's forever going to be a rapper. His personality is going to be a rapper. So even the thing of selling CDs at the back of the trunk, that's rap shit. That's super rap shit. Like, hey, I'm a millionaire, I know, but I'm gonna do rap shit, right? Him interpolating UNITY, super rap shit. Thingy, super rap shit. Giving these odes to these different rap songs that influenced him and the rappers. It's super rap shit. So I think disc one is just that. Just super, super, super rap shit. And Safety is one of those songs, one of the anchoring songs in as far as that, right? I mean, even with songs like drum and bass, like he's a backpack rapper. Even with songs like drum and bass, you understand, like drum and bass. First and foremost, you need to understand that J. Cole is an anomaly in the sense that he was influenced by two regions. For those who don't know, in America, rap is shaped by regions. If you're from the South, your songs will sound a specific way. If you're from the North, your songs will sound a specific way. If you're from the Midwest, your songs will sound a specific way. J. Cole is one of those few people that were essentially born and raised in South Carolina, or North Carolina rather, you understand, which is the South, and essentially went to New York, right, when he was in his early 20s to go to school, you understand, and essentially those two places influenced how he approaches music. So a lot of times J. Cole will rap like he's a New York rapper, but his musical influences, right, are from the South, and you hear it in songs like drum and bass, you hear it in songs like Who the Fuck Is You, you understand. So I think For me, disc one is a clear indication of who J. Cole was at 29, but also who J. Cole is as a caricature, right? He's a super rapper. You understand? Nothing more, nothing less, and you hear it. I think also on disc one, what I love is the fact that he started stretching himself musically. Like I said, on songs like Bunce Road Blues, on songs like The Let Out, on songs like Bombs in the Ville, which is an ode to Bombs in Baghdad by Outkast, right? Bombs in the Ville / Hit the Gas, right? What you hear there is essentially him expanding his musical capabilities. I was just saying now that the harmonies that J. Cole does on these songs are to die for. Like, even if you don't do music, you don't understand music, just listening to how he's executing the harmonies, right? If you've been a J. Cole fan, bro, like, it's like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here, right? Like, this is, and not in a bad way. Like, this is fine. There's no objectively bad song. You may not like the songs because you may have expected something different from J. Cole amidst what happened. But I think if you listen to disc one and then you go back and you go listen to every other project he has dropped, most of these songs are just actualized versions of other songs that he's dropped. If you think about Girl of My Dreams, and if you think about how that actualized into Power Trip, right, and then you hear how some of that song structure actualized in other songs, you understand? I think it's legacy, right? If you hear how a lot of people talk about the survivor's remorse. If you listen to Little Ghetto Boy and then you hear that Poor Thing is an actualized version of Little Ghetto Boy, I mean, the music and the subject matter of the rapper has always remained the same, right? A lot of people, again, Kendrick Lamar kind of messed this up because a lot of people expect the rapper to be self-actualized, whereas that has never been the standard for the rapper. Jay-Z still raps about making money still. It is only with 444 where he kind of came through and tried to self-actualize on record, right? Where essentially with Kendrick Lamar and the proliferation of Kendrick Lamar music in the hip-hop zeitgeist up after the beef has kind of skewed the expectations of new fans, right? So everybody expects the rapper to be self-actualized. It's like, no, that has never been a thing about rap, right? There's rappers who can self-actualize, your Joe Buddens, your Kendrick Lamars, right? The introspective rappers, right? Who will self-actualize on record. But rappers like J. Cole and everybody else, like Nas is still rapping about survivor's remorse, even though he's a crypto billionaire, right? So when you start looking at those type of like sliders, right, and metrics when it comes to rap music, I think this album lives up to what it was supposed to be, which is his last album. And everything here is a actualized version of what was there previously. If you listen to Born Sinner, if you listen to Sideline Stories, right? I think the only anomaly outside of the albums that he has made is Forest Hills Drive, right? Where he also tried to be like, hey, this is actually who I am as a person, right? But outside of that, I feel like it's backpack rapper shit, right? And he has always stayed on the backpack rapper shit. So in as far as that, I think Disc 1 does a great job in just maintaining the brand of J. Cole. If I had to rate Disc 1, right, out of 10, I would rate Disc 1 like a 7 out of 10, right? The songs that I can do without, like Who the Fuck Is You, but I think that is more so of a preference. I think Who the Fuck Is You is a good song. There's nothing wrong with the song. I just don't, I don't care for it that much. You understand? Songs like Run a Train. Run a Train, I think Jermaine does one of the best rapping, right? But I don't like how Future executed the chorus. I think the messaging in the chorus is just a bit crass, for lack of a better word, right? But yeah, I think for me it's like 7 out of 10. First disc, I like the first disc. I think again, it's you're not get. I think what happened is that people don't know how to receive this album because they had a specific expectation that was shaped by the beef and how the beef went. But then if you are in fact a J. Cole fan from the come up, right, to now, you can understand that, oh, this is just what we've been getting all this time. Great rapping, telling us about North Carolina, Fayetteville, your love for Fayetteville, your love for rap, your love for your girl, your love for your mom, right? Your survivor's remorse, and as far as niggas that you left. You understand? Like, hey, bro, like, I would love to come see you niggas, but I can't. Shit is different right now, but I still love y'all. You understand? And that has always been J. Cole's subject matter. So a 7 out of 10 for me in as far as this one. Then we come to this 2, which he supposedly recorded this now when he was 39 years old, which was around the time period of the beef because J. Cole just turned 41 this year, right? So it's about the timeline of the beef, right? And again, same thing, right? Like I think the Villist is an ode on a production level or on a structure level to Mobb Deep, the realist, but then it's also an ode to Outkast because part of the chorus is me and you, your brother and your cousin too. And it's also dope because in it being an ode to Outkast, right, you have Erykah Badu, right, on the hook, who has a child with Andre 3000 from Outkast. So this whole song itself, right, is just super rap, super like a nod to the South, like, hey, you guys are from Atlanta. Well, Erykah Badu is from Texas, I believe, but like the bros are from Atlanta, Outkast, right? That's the South, right? I'm from the South. Here's an ode. Mobb Deep, the realist, the villist. Here's an ode. I was in New York for several for a long time, in as far as me studying and whatever the case may be. Here's a nod to that, and I'm gonna do some super rapping. So nothing more, nothing less. It again, if you're a fan of hip hop, this should like tug at your heartstrings. If you're a fan of hip hop, this should make you go, oh, you're supposed to geek at this, right? This is an album for super hip hop fans, like really super hip hop nerds. You understand? For example, The Fall Off Is Inevitable is an ode to Nas's Rewind, right? Apart from it again being an ode to Nas's Rewind, the writing on there, it's very difficult to kind of write raps from front to back or back to front. So again, like, you're looking at this and you're like, okay, this man is displaying his super rhyme skills. He's giving an ode to the rappers that influenced him, right? The songs are great. The production is great. What more would you want, right? This is some super backpack rapper shit, right? Again, I spoke of the South influence. For those who know P.D. Pablo, right? I remember when I got my first cover of the Source magazine. We never got the Source in South Africa, so I got the Source magazine through different ways when I was a young one. But the Source magazine is a hip-hop magazine in America. And I remember when I opened it, right, P.D. Pablo had the big spread, and I had to go learn who P.D. Pablo is. And P.D. Pablo is one of the first rappers to ever really pop off from the South, with the exception of niggas from Atlanta. You understand what I'm saying? So having P.D. Pablo, an old dog, you understand, and even him saying that, hey, I'm not the first nigga from Carolina to pop off. P.D. Pablo is that guy. I mean, P.D. Pablo is also featured on Sierra's My Goodies. My Goodies, yes, My Goodies. He's the first guy that raps there. But prior to that, if you look at P.D. Pablo's jacket, this is one of the most I want to say like decorated rappers from the South, outside of niggas from Atlanta like Killer Mike and Outkast and Dungeon Family and all of these guys, right? So him doing that again, an ode, right, to hip hop. Like, for you to appreciate these things, because you can't say the songs are terrible. The songs are not terrible, right? You may not like the songs for whatever reason, right? Like, okay, cool, the song's cool, but that would mean that the album is not meant for you. The album is meant for people that understand the levity, right, or the gravity of some of these things that are happening on the album. And it's like, oh my God, what do you mean? And it's okay for the album not to be for you, even though J. Cole is one of the biggest rappers in the world and essentially is one of the mass produced artists. You understand? But this album is not for people that just joined hip hop not so long ago, right? To a certain extent, this album is almost elitist because you need to understand a lot of backstory, a lot of hip hop history, right, to understand some of the things that are happening here, right? But the songs are not anything outside of Cole's wheelhouse, right? With the exception of what's happening on disc one with, as I mentioned, Hit the Glass and The Let Out and Bunce Road Blues, where he's doing a lot of melody flexing, harmonic flexing, and so on and so forth. But again, like Life Sentence, again, what type of games? What's going on, verse? What type of games are being played? How's it going down? I saw a whole lot of people on the internet say he took Drake's chorus, and that just speaks to what people think of this album, right? A lot of people are like, oh, he took Drake's chorus. Like, no, that's an ode to DMX. But because we are at a space where rap is like, what's going on, Max? Rap, like hip hop music is like, oh, hip hop, the culture is like, what, 50 something years old, right? So rap music is like 52, 53 years old, right? There's a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people that don't understand what happened prior to them. Their point of reality when it comes to hip hop is Drake, is J. Cole, is Kendrick. So a lot of these things, it's flying above their head, or they didn't even listen to hip hop before now. You understand? So again, Life Sentence, love song. To me, it's like very, very Cole-esque love song. Nothing special. I don't go to Cole to listen to love songs. I'd rather go listen to Drake. You understand? Unless like the love song is conceptual, right? Like a Wet Dreams or like a Lost Ones, we was talking about, getting rid of the baby, but if it's conceptual, like around something, right, I'll go listen. But then if it's just like, yo, I love you, baby, you've been with me for a while, I really don't care. I don't go to Cole for that, right? I'll go to Drake. But not a bad song nonetheless, right? Only You, a song that I could go without except for the Burna Boy part. He is cooking. Burna Boy is cooking. J. Cole's part, I'm cool with it. Bro, if this song wasn't part of the album, I'd be fine, right? It doesn't change anything with me. Man Above, as I was playing, Marvin Sapp never would have made it. If you are somebody that loves God, or at the very least has listened to American gospel music, you should know that Marvin Sapp never would have made it. One of the strongest songs, right, in American contemporary gospel, and the messaging behind it very powerful. So for him personally, because it's one of my favorite gospel songs, I don't listen to gospel, but that Marvin Sapp, it hits me all the time. So for him to do that, I'm just like, okay, you won me over, my brother, right? You won me over. But again, the lyrical content is nothing far removed from what you hear on Truly Yours 1 and Truly Yours 2. You understand? So if you are familiar with that type of content, then you should know that this is what you're going to get here, and you get that. Simple and plain, right? Nothing too crazy. I Love Her Again. Say ode to Commons. I used to love her. Freddie Gibbs has done it. Eminem has done it with 25 to Life. There's just a whole lot of renditions of people talking to the audience about rap in the form of a woman, right? I think it was dope to sample Common. I think the song is well written, right? I think this is the first time where he addresses the beef, apart from 39 intro, where he was like, niggas talking crazy about my name, I gotta come back, right? But I think this is the first time he addresses the beef, where he says, hip hop told his boys something, and then now his boys is beefy because of that. But again, fire, right? Nothing bad about the song. Like the production, super. What if he's rapping from the perspective of Biggie and Pac just before them getting, shipped out? Great conceptual record. Dope what Maury did, or Moray. Like the beat. Dog, super backpack rapper shit. We don't care about the hits out here. We don't care about the commercial success out here. I'm the greatest rapper in the world. This is an ode to rap music. This is an ode to my love for hip hop. Niggas might call it pretentious, but this is me, dog. I'm a backpack rapper, nothing more, nothing less. You understand? My whole life is to raise my child, be married, and be a backpack rapper, and still pursue my hoop dreams till today. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, like, I don't expect anything different from Cole because there is a clear reference. There's a clear track record. Again, from the come up to now, there's a clear track record what Cole is going to do. There's also a clear mandate. Right, Forest Hills Drive will sound different from Born Sinner because Born Sinner was playing the industry, right? Sideline Story was playing the industry. So you can hear the sonic choices, you can hear the subject matter choices, you can hear that versus Forest Hills Drive and For Your Eyes Only and Off-Season, KOD and everything that came after that. This is super hippity from, after Forest Hills Drive, this nigga's been super hippity hop. Super hip hippity hop. So this will remain super hip hippity hop. If you're not super hip hippity hop and you're looking for the smashes and the clubs and what, you're not gonna get it here, bro. You're not gonna get it. This is him saying, hip hop, thank you for everything that you've done for me. This is the last thing that I'll give to you, right? And if you are not in tune with that, bro, you'll not like this album. That is fine. You don't need to like this album because it's J. Cole. Number 10, Quick Stop. Cool rapping, would have done without it, but some J. Cole shit. You get it. He's at the gas station and somebody recognizes him. Oh my God, J. Cole, shout out. It's reminiscent to a song on KOD. I think the name of the song, I forgot the name of the song, but like it starts with the interlude where they're talking about a baby and whatever the case may be, and then it goes choose wisely, and then he goes into it. He performed it at a specific award show where Wale was on top and he was at the bottom. I forgot the name of the song, but it's the same thing. It is the same thing, right? Nothing too crazy, nothing outside of Cole's wheelhouse. And the whole world is in the Ville, or is the Ville. That's an ode to the Ville. Don't care for it. Ocean's Way, don't care for it. In as far as disc 2, I could only do with 1, 2, 3 songs. The last 3 songs, right? I'm fine with it, with the exception of the Burna Boy joint because I gotta hear what Burna's doing. But I can do without. Because the last 3 songs I can do without. Whereas on the first one, I think Legacy, I said, is one thing that I can do without. You understand? Or I can't remember which song I mentioned, but I think it's Legacy, right? But overall, if I had to take all 24 songs and rate it out of 10, dog, this is an 8 for me, right? For me personally, this is an 8 because as a longtime Cole fan, as a longtime hip-hop fan, as a hip-hop nerd, everything was checked out for me here. And even the way that he rolled it out and whatever, like, bro, this is prime Cole. When he rolled out For Your Eyes Only, he was at the marches in Charlotte, right? So if he could do that then and you guys accepted, how can you not accept now? You understand? When he was rolling out For Your Eyes Only, he was on Jimmy Kimmel singing that song after Mike Brown got pew-pewed. You understand what I'm saying? This is who Cole is. He's a socially conscious rapper who talks about his people. He may not do it the Kendrick Lamar way, but he has never done it the Kendrick Lamar way. And I think that's what made the big three back then, right? A lot of people, I saw somebody ask, is Cole still part of the big three, right? Cole is part of the big three according to the labels because they're still a big three. Right, they're still a big three. These niggas are the biggest artists to date. I think Cole is on track to sell 300,000 first week. So we'll see what happens towards the end of the week, right? But by Friday, right, or by Saturday, we should get the numbers, I believe, right? And he's on pace to sell like 300,000 first week, which is Cole's numbers. You understand? 300,000, 340, 350. You understand what I'm saying? This is a big three number. Right, this is the type of numbers that Bruno Mars and them do first week. So this is a big three number. So is Cole part of the big three? Label-wise, of course, right? Because it's only them three, right? They shake the game. Look at Kendrick. Kendrick won a fuck ton of Grammys for what he did the previous year, right? And the year before that. You understand what I'm saying? With GNX and Not Like Us and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm also looking at Cole to shake the first half of the year with this album. I think I saw a lot of fans, right? Right? A lot of Cole fans says 2014 Forest Hills Drive took about 3 years for people to appreciate it. I think this is what's going on. OCD. I think a lot of people it's gonna take a long time for them to appreciate this album. I think look, this album is for the Cole fan. I think what J. Cole did when he made this album is that I'm making this for J. Cole fans. I'm not making this for everybody else. I'm making this for long-time J. Cole fans. And as a long-time J. Cole fan, I'm glad he made this album. It is not a 10 out of 10. It is not Forest Hills Drive by any stretch of the imagination. But god damn it, I'm okay with the fall off. I've been listening to the fall off since Sunday, right? I listened to the fall off all night last night until 5 a.m. this morning, right? All day yesterday, right? I couldn't listen to it today because I was busy, but best be sure after this live, I'm gonna hit my parts and I'm listening to the fall off. So I'm glad. I like the album. Again, I give it an 8 out of 10, right? And I think if you're not a Cole fan, you'll never appreciate this album, right? And if you don't appreciate hip hop at the very least, you won't appreciate this album. There's a lot of takeaways that you can take from a technical level, production level, industry level, right? But I don't think this is what this album is for, right? And I think this is why his rollout is the way that it is. But yeah, like I said, for me, the Fall Off by J. Cole, 8 out of 10. I'm excited to see what happens. And as far as the rollout, the post rollout, I'm excited to hear It's a Boy, right? And yeah, man, I'm just happy for Cole. I'm happy for Cole. I think again, he's one of those. Matter of fact, he's the only big artist that has a disadvantage, right? It's almost like he is the second coming of Nas in the sense that every time Nas dropped, if you were there, right, Jay-Z would overshadow him with antics, right? Jay-Z would go do something like open a club, right? So if you look at Nas's career and how there was always a lot of controversy that kind of overshadowed Nas's releases every time he had to release an album, right? You'd find that J. Cole is that, right? It seems similar to me. You understand? And I mean, maybe he was trying to be the Nas of the game, right? Maybe, I don't know. However, I will say that, yeah, look, but then the thing is, he's been doing all kinds of weird things. Like Jay-Z, every time Nas drops, he does a bunch of weird things. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, I think the antics, right, tend to overshadow Cole. But I do believe that this will go down as one of his best albums in his discography. Of course, this Forest Hills Drive, we can have a debate about this, but for me, 2014 Forest Hills Drive will remain the best. And then for me, For Your Eyes Only, KOD, the fall off right now, Sideline Story, Born Sinner, and everything else, right? But yeah, look, this is me. I think the album is dope. I think what he has done works, and yeah, man, like I said, it's an 8 out of 10. Congratulations to J. Cole. If you guys how's the production overall? Is it refreshing or is it the same old Cole? It's a bit of both, right? It's a bit of both. There's beats here that took me back, right? Hit the Gas is one of them. What's another song? It's playing in my head now. There's another song that's playing in my head that was like, oh, the production here, I like it. But it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. But like I said, this is super like super rap with a little bit of rock influence. There's some rock influence here, which is funny, like alternative rock influence, right? In as far as beats on 39 intro, there's some rock influence on the Let Out. There's some super rock influence, a lot of guitar there, alternative rock influence, which is dope because you don't expect Cole to do that, right? There's a lot of R&B-ish stuff, like I said, on Hit the Gas and Buns Road Blues and let me see. Yeah, there's a bunch of songs. So it is kind of like, it's a bit of both. It's like old Cole sprinkled with like him trying different styles of production, but it's not refreshing per se. Like, you're not going to go, ooh, damn, I didn't think that would happen, right? There are some surprises here, but you're like, oh, this is a J. Cole album, 100%. Cole is like whiskey. It's going to age well. Yeah, I think it's going to age well. I think, yeah, like I said, man, like, hate it or love it, like, this is Cole. He is one of the best rappers. And, again, I will echo the sentiments of Joe Budden when he said, J. Cole is the one of the greatest rappers, and then it ends there, right? And I think this album shows us this. He's one of the greatest rappers, point blank, period. He's not one of the greatest rappers who also teach us things. He's not one of the greatest rappers who also makes us feel like we need to text our exes, right? We have rappers for that. And I think if we had to use that as a slight on him, he will go number 3 on the big 3 debate, because Drake is one of the best rappers or one of the greatest rappers, but he can also make you feel some things. He can also make you want to cheat on your girl. He can also make you want to text that other girl. You understand? Kendrick Lamar can also make you want to like fix your life. Kendrick Lamar can also want to make you call your estranged dad and fix things. You understand? With Cole, it's like, yeah, Cole can motivate you to a certain extent, but even then, like I think Cole can't motivate the new generation because they don't have the same level of struggles or whatever. But I think for us, Cole was a big motivator. But we're old now. We went to go get what we needed to get. So listening to Cole music is more so reminiscing. Like, man, I remember when I had to go get it. You know. But yeah, that's me. That's me. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say. If not, we can close it right here. Right, the Fall Off by Cole, 8 out of 10. Go listen to it. If you haven't, if you don't like it, it's okay. It doesn't make him any less of a rapper. It doesn't make him any less of an artist. I think, again, if you're a long-time Cole fan, this album should make sense for you, and it definitely makes sense for me. Do you think he has underachieved in his career? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Cole will go down as one of the greatest. Like, if I had to make a comparison in as far as Drake, Cole, and Kendrick, right? In the 90s, we can go New York. In the 90s, we can go the guys that were really killing it in the 90s, New York, right? Who ended up becoming like super juggernauts. You're talking DMX, you're talking Jay-Z, you're talking Nas, let's say, right? Because Nas came in with Tupac and them, and Jay-Z came in with Tupac and them, but then they really like solidified themselves within the era of DMX and Cam and all of them niggas, because Tupac and them also ended up like passing on, right? But like, if I had to take DMX, if I had to take Nas, if I had to take Jay-Z, I would say DMX is Kendrick, Nas is J. Cole, and Jay-Z is Drake, of course, right? Because of the impact, right? I think nobody can fuck with DMX in as far as albums, right? DMX ended up being one of the biggest rappers in the 90s, if not the biggest rappers in the 90s. You understand? Do your Googles if you're not aware. I think he was the first one to sell a double disc. He was the first one to drop 2 albums in 1 year cycle, and then one of the albums was a double disc, and them shits all went platinum. So this was a bad guy. Like, DMX was a crazy guy, right? But Jay-Z was always the guy that also had like the commercial appeal, while Nas had the culture. You understand? Nas also had commercial appeal. Make no mistake. He had big songs, but like Nas was always revered as, oh, that's the best rapper out of the 3 of them, right? Skill wise, and I think that's who J. Cole is, right? So did he underachieve? No, if he can be compared to Nas, because Nas didn't underachieve, unless what you are asking is based on today's metrics, which also that is, I mean, again, I did say he's on track to sell about 300K first week. That is unheard of. That is like Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, right, levels. And there's only 3 guys in hip hop that can do that. So he didn't underachieve by no stretch of the imagination. What does the 2% subtraction mean if you're giving him 8 out of 10? For the songs that I didn't care for, you understand, like Ocean Way, like And the Whole World Is in the Veil, like A Quick Stop. They're not bad songs. I enjoy listening to them, but like I can do without them, right? The Only You with Burna Boy, you understand? Again, they're not bad songs, but I can like live without them. Like I can be like, oh, okay, cool. Even if this wasn't here, I wasn't gonna lose anything. This is why I'm removing the 2, right? Because it's like you captured me all the way, but you didn't capture me all the way. Like towards the very, very, very end, right? It got very, very, very tricky very quickly. You understand? So that's why I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. But like, The reason why, again, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 is for like what the project stands for as a whole. You understand? And yeah, bro, like that's why I'm giving it. But I'm giving it an 8. But I don't think Cole underachieved in any way, shape, or form. He's one of the greatest. He will go down as one of the greatest. And yeah, we will talk about Cole for a very long time, right? Matter of fact, I'll even go on record and say we'll talk about Cole for a very long time, and we won't mention the apologizing. We'll talk about Cole for a very long time, but we won't mention the apologizing. If we do mention the apologizing, we will mention it in 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 passing. It won't be in the same like vein as explaining to our grandkids the battle between Kendrick and Drake, right? I think J. Cole will just be like, oh, and J. Cole was a part of that, by the way, and right, but it won't stain his reputation. It won't stain his legacy. It won't stain what he has done in the past, I don't know, 20 years, right? So yeah, J. Cole will go down as one of the greatest, and I'm fine with this album being what it is. Yeah, any more questions, any more statements that you'd like to make? If not, we can wrap it here. I think I think I think we did a great job, right? But yeah, that apology did nothing to street cred. It was a dent. Yeah, that was panel beat. Yeah. I believe so. I also think when Adoro, that apology, the people who were disappointed by that apology are old enough to understand why that apology had to happen, whereas everybody else is just talking because they're too young. You understand? I think the people that were like, man, that apology kind of, sort of, almost is kind of a dent or a chink in the armor, also understood that, yeah, but look, we're too old for that. And these two, if you really understand, like, these niggas beef and where they come from, their beef is from way back then. You understand? Like, a lot of industry stuff happened, just a lot of things happened that one can attribute to their beef, and it had nothing to do with Cole. I think Cole was trying to be the mediator at some point in time, and yeah, that kind of, I always tell people, you can't play the middle. You're gonna get caught up on one side, and I think, yeah, but like, other than that, Cole the rapper can Cole the artist, right? Cole the generational figure. That beef did nothing. That beef did absolutely nothing. But instead, Cole is saying the same thing he's been saying in the album. What's your take on that? I think you came in late, but I did say he has been saying the same thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think I said earlier on, there's an unfair expectation for rappers to self-actualize on record when that has never been a thing. I think rappers like Joe Budden, rappers like Kendrick Lamar, right, Drake to a certain extent, Kanye West to a certain extent, right, came in and self-actualized on record, but that has never been the job of a rapper. The job of a rapper was never to self-actualize on a record. The job of a rapper was to kind of give their opinion on the outside world. And I think other rappers like Joe Budden, and the other rappers that I mentioned, kind of said, no, let's stop looking outside and let's look inward. And there kind of was an unfair expectation for every rapper to do that. I think Cole doesn't fall in that. I think Cole has never told us that he does that. I think what he did with Foles' Drive was an attempt, but I don't think the attempt was to make him be that, right? So yeah, like I said, everything that you hear on this album is only but an actualized version of everything that we've been hearing since the come up. So if you do have that type of cachet in as far as Cole's music, you do understand that he raps about the same thing, but there's nothing wrong with it. I think that has never been his expectation. I don't think his expectation was ever, or his point of departure was ever, to self-actualize on record. You understand? Yeah, and I think most rappers don't even know how to self-actualize on record. You understand? It's only people like Joe Budden and Kendrick Lamar and Drake to a certain extent, Kanye to a certain extent, who are able to do it very well, right? But I don't think that has ever been Cole, right? I don't think that has ever been Cole. But yeah, look, greatest rapper, and I love it. It sounds the same, but it keeps getting better. Yeah, you understand? It keeps getting better. It keeps getting better. I think, yeah, man. I think it keeps getting better, and I personally do not have a problem with it. And I think for him to say this is his last album kind of makes sense, because like, there's nothing more that I can say now, right? So even people saying, oh, but then Cole has been saying the exact same thing for years. Nigga, this is his last album anyway. You understand? This is his last album anyway. What do you expect him to say that he hasn't said? Right? This is his last album anyway. Listen to the music and leave the bullshit at home. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, that's my take on it personally. Like I don't think there's anything wrong. I mean, I love Joe Budden, right? One of my biggest, if not the biggest influence in as far as what I do, right? Love that man, watch that man every week. But if we had to speak about him as a rapper, he rapped about the same thing all the time until he retired, which is the pain in his life, right? So even in his self-actualization on record, the self-actualization never grew. He was always hurt, and he was always hurt, and he always mentioned pain in his records. You understand? In his music, right? If it wasn't this person, was the next person. I mean, if you listen to mood music, all of them, there was, or the freestyles or whatever, there was always there's always like an essence of pain in his music. So I think it's the pot calling the kettle black. I don't think he's wrong, but I also think it's disingenuous for him to say that. But he's not wrong. Again, love the man. Big influence in what I do. Big influence. Love the man. Wish he was an older brother of mine, right? But yeah. What do I feel about Wale's statement saying that he feels overlooked? He's correct, but Wale suffers from mental health issues, and as a fellow person that suffers from mental health issues, you will be overlooked because you are not willing to do what is required of you to be seen, because it puts a detriment to your mental health, right? So it's a catch-22. He is absolutely right. He is overlooked. He also released one of the best albums of 2025. No, 2025. I forgot when Wale's... Yeah, 2025, yeah. He released one of the best albums of 2025, right? But it requires a lot, you understand, to be seen in this game. And as a person with mental health issues like Wale, yeah, it requires a lot from him. And sometimes he won't be able to do it because he suffers, you understand, from mental health issues. Or he has reactions based on his mental health issues. And that then costs him a lot of visibility. It's no loss if it's his last album anyway, because how higher can you go from here exactly? You understand? Exactly how high can you go from here? So yeah. Anyway, I think we're gonna close it here. I think a lot was said in as far as J. Cole album. I think I gave my perspective on a lot of stuff, and as far as hip hop and all that. But yeah, I'm excited to see what It's a Boy's gonna do. I'm excited to see the rollouts and all of that. And yeah, that's my opinion. That's my opinion, and I think we should close it here. Unknown says Jay also said the Black Album was his last and went to drop 4 more. Yeah, I think this is different, right? I think the difference between Cole and Jay is that Jay understood how to play the game. Cole doesn't want to play the game at all, right? And I think that's the fundamental difference between the two men, right? Cole doesn't want to play the game at all, whereas Jay understood how to play the game in retirement at your highest peak and releasing the Black Album, which is one of his best albums, right? Worked out for him, excuse me. But with J. Cole, I don't think the same will happen. I don't think it will happen. But yeah. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are on the TikTok, thank you for having the conversation with me. If you are on the YouTube, thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe on the YouTube. The TikTok, please do follow the page, interact with the content that is on the TikTok, interact. If you're on YouTube, go watch the previous videos on Wild Take Wednesdays. But thank you very much. I have been your host, Tato. This has been Wild Take Wednesdays on UNC'S Corner. And till next time, right, I will see you guys when I see you guys. Peace and thank you. I'm gone.